little hard to see with the plunger, but this is the full flipper mech. Literally just screws into the side of the cabinet. As a result of that, all the feedback gets directed right back into the wood. I can't tell you how good these feel, guys. And sound. I know you've heard them on stream, but it's just like a real pinball cabinet. And if you have the glass off, it's too loud. So, highly recommend these. They're about $40. Again, the parts list is in my channel in the Discord, pinned to the top. But these are Williams Bally. You can run them at higher voltages. I run mine at 24 volts. So I just have the appropriate coil for that. And boy, they're awesome. And then these are Slingshots. A little more difficult. Porgy created basically just an L shape. He just nail gunned two pieces together and glued it. And then that attaches to the side of the cab. But then he drilled holes enough for everything to go through here. I'm not going to take off these caps. These are just caps. These are literally just to hold the rubber on so you get that authentic sound. Thanks for, wow, lots of subs today. Thanks, Arthur. So here is really just partially aesthetic, but it also, when it fires, it's hitting that rubber and you're getting that feeling like a real pinball machine. This is actually from Judge Dredd, this yellow one. He didn't have a second one. Porgy gave me these. But I need to get one because, I don't know, you probably can't see it, but this rubber's not quite right. And it has to latch over it. So it keeps catching behind it on occasion. I have to fix it. But this one, it's just perfect. And the solenoid's just firing and triggering that mechanism here. 2 wires, just like a a regular solenoid, but this is a real flipper part. Again, about $40. So if you're going to go out and buy thunderclaps, which are $40 a piece, I highly recommend you just invest in real hardware. If you want to cheap out and get automotive solenoids for $10 a piece, they work fine. They sound fine. They just didn't have the true sound I wanted. If I was going to build a real pinball cabinet, I wanted real parts. And until I got late in the build, I didn't even know I could add real flippers. So if you can do it, highly recommend it. I don't have the pop bumpers. Porgy has them, and I've played them. They sound awesome. I may not put them in because with SSF turned up all the way and having the front feedback, the Slingshots and the flippers, I'm in hog heaven, guys. This is just like when I go to the pub and I play Deadpool or Star Wars or Stranger Things. It feels the same. Except for the virtual aspects. Okay, so there's the feedback. There's a gear motor here. It's just 2 wires. Shaker motor. Currently not connected. It's actually connected, but the port's turned off in Pinscape because, unfortunately, and this is where you did better than me, Grief, the Rigmaster doesn't handle the shaker motor really well. We haven't fully diagnosed why. It's fine at full speed. I don't know if any of you have tried a Stern shaker motor at full speed, but your cabinet will walk out of your office. So I can't do that. And then if I have it at a variable PWM level, I have a few different scenarios from it doesn't go off at all to it gives a high-pitched whine to it rumbles a little bit plus it gives the high-pitched whine. So rather than being uncertain, I'm just leaving it off for now and imagining that shaking happening when the stampede happens. Yes, it will blow this cab apart. And it'll really upset with the nudge, I imagine. So that's the other reason I have the KO shield up here, and we'll go to that next in a minute. Pull that apart. This is surround sound feedback. So up front we've got the 2 exciters, and I cannot figure out why this light does not look better on camera. That's a little better. Yeah, so a bass shaker, BST1, and then these are the HD something or others. But these are 40 watts, 50 watts. These are 50 watts each. And this is also 50 watts. These are the highest power ones you can get, and I don't regret it in the least. Down a little bit. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So next up, this is my output board. It includes the Rig Master, a Moss light, which is not connected. It is powered, so it's live. And then this is the, it's the equivalent of a teen cab, but it's actually Oak Micros' board. I'm not proud of this, because I can do better than this, but that's part of my point of tearing the cab apart, is I need to redo a lot of this stuff. This is just a 2-port USB I brought from the back. It's it was powering the webcam I had inside the cab, which I took out because it was stupid, and none of you told me it was stupid. You should have told me it was stupid. And I have a couple of test buttons wired here. So normally it wouldn't look like this. You would have these wires and the channels back here, and it would be very clean, and Molex connectors like this. So when I disconnect, and I'll clean this up probably tomorrow, maybe today, but I'm gonna put a Molex on this. This is the brain. So I'm just gonna disconnect it here, put a Molex on either end, and then I'll have a quick disconnect here. And I'll be doing the same thing for all my control wires, which are here. Those are all the buttons up front, as well as this one. I forget what this is. I think that's, oh yeah, that's my plunger. So I need to Molex all those. Once I do, I'll be able to disconnect everything. This board will just come straight out. That's the goal here. But on the back, you may see, I have my Molex ready to go. And that's going to go to the Moss light that's on front. And then I have 2 more Molex that are going to go on here. 1 more Moss light. And 2 Moss 8s. And everything is going to go on here. I need to reroute all these cables, because that's what all these holes are for, is to route cables up and back and keep it really clean. And then you'll finish it off with a Molex connection, and you'll be able to quick disconnect this whole thing, take it out of the cabinet, service it, test with it, do whatever you want. How far down and back? Let me catch up. How far back and down are your front exciters? You know, I put them right below the paint line. This cabinet came from Vpin. Does an excellent job, by the way. We should go over that too. But, I mean, look at these corners, guys. The way he joins these, there's no gap. It looks like one piece of wood. It's so beautiful. Paul at Vpin might take a little while, but his work is immaculately nice. He added the fire button for me when I bought it. He gave me the light with it. He's pretty awesome. He does take his time sometimes because he's busy, and I know he's in the US, so it doesn't help some of you guys outside the US, but he does sell some good products. And I wish I'd known about him, or his pricing rather, before I'd gone to Pinball Life, because I went and bought all these trim pieces, my lockdown bar, my receiver, all the cabinet trim stuff. I went and bought in pieces from Pinball Life. I paid 15 to 25 bucks in shipping for each shipment. But B, what I didn't know about VirtuaPin and Paul, he buys so much from Pinball Life that he gets a break, and he actually passes some of that down to you. So, for instance, the Flipper Fidelity speakers, I'll show you in a minute. You can get those from Pinball Life. Marco directly from Flipper Fidelity. But Paul actually sells them $10 cheaper than anybody else, and his shipping is cheaper than anybody else. So, same thing with his button kit. There's a full button kit he sells. There's a full trim kit he sells. Same thing applies. It's a little cheaper than you would find it elsewhere. And the shipping's cheaper. So just something to keep in mind as you're buying stuff. I still buy stuff from Marco and Pinball Life. But the last thing I ordered from Paul was the Flipper Fidelity set. And he shipped it within a day or two of order. And it was here the next week. So it's not too bad. But they're basically, let's measure. Hold on. So from the glass, a little less than 8 inches. If you want that in millimeters, I'd have to convert, but I'll let you see that. And then as far as back, I just went right behind the slings, right where my hinge was. And that's really because of space. I couldn't come any further back because of the sling. And I couldn't go any further this way because of where I had put this. And I wanted them up high enough to reverberate into the cab where I would feel it. So it was partially an aesthetic change. We'll get to the back in a sec. Yep, so there's the control board. Move this around. Kind of hard to see, but then I've got channels running all the way down the side here, all the way down the back of the cab. One in the middle. And eventually that'll be really clean. You won't see any wires. Base shaker behind that. That is just loose right now. I don't have it mounted. And then there's a sub right behind there. It's loose because I haven't exactly decided, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly where I'm going to put it. If I put it behind the sub, I don't notice as much feedback. So, on the back exciters, pretty sure we're the same measurement down. Close to it. Yeah, a little less, actually. Just a hair under 7. But that's, again, aesthetic and design choice. Mine are actually, because the cabinet goes upwards, mine are a little higher than the low ones. But that's, again, I wanted near the paint line so I would feel it when I'm on the flippers. You can mount them under the cab. And then for transport, I do screw this down. So both sides